Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It may depend on where and at which time you are watching this video. This is Kaman's Private, the nutritionist, the dietitian. And today we are going to discuss about nutritional customs to manage non-communicable diseases. And the main objective for this course, it is to foster the skills for the professionals to practice nutritional prevention. When you look into the incidence, non-communicable diseases are on worldwide, regional, and in the country of Rwanda, the incidence of non-communicable diseases is growing. And when it becomes to be the management of it, you find that the professionals needs to be fostered in terms of the skills of nutrition, and when you go into this course, the runners, the viewers, and the professionals will capture the content about the techniques for the management and the prevention of non-communicable diseases. Specifically into this course, the professionals will be able to understand the role of trace elements and vitamins in the treatment and the management of non-communicable diseases. The food we eat have the role that contributes to the management and the treatment of non-communicable diseases. Major elements that contribute to the treatment and the management of non-communicable diseases: trace elements, mineral salts, and vitamins. They play a greater role in the management and the treatment. So into this course, we will tackle which trace elements, which vitamins that play major roles in the management and the treatment of non-communicable diseases. Again, into this course, the runners, the professionals will be able to understand through explanations the do's and don'ts for non-communicable diseases and the nutrition. So they are the things people they might be doing, and they contribute to the incidence of non-communicable diseases which are nutritional related. And they are the don'ts that do what they are not supposed to be doing, and they also contribute to the poor management, to the poor management of non-communicable diseases. So when you go into non-communicable diseases, the non-communicable diseases are also known as chronic diseases. They tend to be for long duration and are the results of combination of genetic, psychological, environmental, and behavioral factors. These are all factors that normally contributes to the non-communicable diseases. The non-communicable disease might happen as a result of the combination of this or a single aspect. Let it be genetic, let it be psychological, let it be environmental, or behavior factor. So non-communicable diseases kill 41 million people each year, equivalent to 71% of all deaths globally. So you can understand the incidence at which non-communicable diseases are affecting the population. So if 41 million deaths per year globally are caused by non-communicable diseases, so it is very important again to tackle into this topic of non-communicable diseases. Each year, more than 15 million people die from non-communicable diseases between the ages of 30 to 69 years. This is 85% of the premature deaths. Most especially these days occur in developing and middle-income countries, and 77% of all non-communicable diseases are in low and middle-income countries. So this problem of non-communicable diseases, it counts for the deaths of premature, and it is mostly characterized. It is mostly seen in low and middle-income countries. So non-communicable diseases, we are having different types of non-communicable diseases, but mainly we are having major non-communicable diseases, of which we are even going to talk about today. The first non-communicable disease, they are cardiovascular diseases. These are strokes and heart attack. They are diabetes. They are hypertension, preventive cancers, chronic respiratory diseases, including asthma, mental health conditions, and injuries. All these are non-communicable diseases. They are that normally occur. But for today's topic, we are going to concentrate on major non-communicable diseases. These are cardiovascular diseases. These are diabetes and cancers. These diseases, they are most likely to be caused by different factors, but among the factors, we are having modifiable factors and non-modifiable factors. And we are going to concentrate more on modifiable factors, because modifiable factors, you will find that modifiable factors, they are those factors that are in people's capacity to have the control over. Then these factors, they are tobacco use. So it has been researched and documented that the abuse of tobacco are associated to the non-communicable diseases, most especially cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. There is unhealthy diet. So unhealthy diet, into this presentation, we will go deeply into and what do we mean when we say unhealthy diet. And there is harmful use of alcohol. So when you use too much alcohol, the research says too much use of alcohol leads to the non-communicable diseases, most especially these major non-communicable diseases I have mentioned. There is there is air pollution. So it is very clear that globally there is a problem of climate change. The climate change, it leads to air pollution. So this something that is very, very, very challenging globally, but keep in mind that climate change that leads to air pollution leads to non-communicable diseases, especially cancers, especially diabetes, especially cardiovascular diseases. There is another modifiable factor that is, remember that when we talk of modifiable factors, here we want to mean the factors that the person, the human being, has the capacity to have the control over that particular factor. So among other factors that are modifiable, physical inactivity includes. Physical inactivity can lead to the obesity, and obesity is closely associated to diabetes, to hypertension, to cardiovascular diseases, and because it leads to the diminished immune system, it can also lead to the cancers. And as I mentioned before, non-communicable diseases, there are other non-modifiable risk factors. When we talk of non-modifiable risk factors, these are the risk factors for non-communicable diseases that are not in human beings' capacity to control. One of it is age. So there is no control over the age. If it is to grow up, you cannot stop growing up. So age is one of non-modifiable factors that leads to non-communicable diseases. There is gender. There are some of non-communicable diseases that are especially found that are likely to be found in a specific gender. Take an example. When we say cervical cancer, it affects female, not male. When you talk of prostate cancer, it affects male. It cannot affect the female because female do not have the prostate. So there are some of diseases that are non-communicable, that based on the gender, and there is no one who determines the gender to be. And take an example also for one of the risk factor that is non-modifiable for non-communicable diseases: family history, ethnicity, and metabolic risk factors. These are non-modifiable risk factors for non-communicable diseases. But For the purpose of this presentation, we will more concentrate on unhealthy diet because we are talking of nutrition and non-communicable disease. How do we manage, how do we prevent, as health professionals, how do we manage non-communicable diseases through good nutrition? That's why today's presentation is much more focusing on unhealthy diet. So when we say nutrition and diet for non-communicable diseases, when most people think of diets to prevent and reverse non-communicable diseases, they think of sugars, they think of salt, they think of cholesterol, they think of fats. But when we are talking of nutrition and diets for non-communicable disease prevention and management, we normally go beyond, because this is the basic information. When we talk of sugars, they are the basic information a health professional has to communicate to the patient that sugars are affecting people's life. When we talk of salt, this is the basic information a health professional has to communicate to the client, the patient, that overuse of salt is affecting life and causing non-communicable diseases. When you talk of cholesterol and fats, it is very clear that cholesterol and fats contribute to the incidence of non-communicable disease. But for the purpose of this presentation, we are going beyond fats, we are going beyond cholesterol, we are going beyond sugars and salts. We are going to dig deeply into other nutritional techniques that boost the skills for professionals to be more practical in their areas. In reality, many other factors must be taken into account, such as inadequate, when we talk of more other factors that should be taken into account for the prevention and management of non-communicable diseases. One factor is nutritional or food preparation practices. Remember, we are what we eat. And what we eat is determined most especially by the preparation. So they are the nutrients that are normally lost during the food preparation, and they are the nutrients people add. There are other things people add into food so that maybe the food can have the smell, can have the taste, but put into account that the things that we normally add into food that are not food, they affect the food. And when you practice poor preparations and the nutrients, most especially vitamins and minerals, lost into that particular process of preparation, so you're putting your life into danger. So preparation of food is more keen, is more important when we are preparing. It is more important to determine nutrition and diet for prevention and management of non-communicable diseases. So into this presentation, we will dig deeply into preparations. We will dig into proper preparation for food. How do we maximize nutrients during food preparation? How do we prevent the loss of nutrients, most especially vitamins, most especially mineral salts, when we are preparing food? What do we need to prevent, to reduce, to avoid the addition of those particular food? Let it be spices that are industrially made. These are food colors and so on, that add these colors, smell and taste into food, but they do not contribute in terms of nutrition. So we should avoid the things, these synthetic things, synthetic food colors, synthetic smell that provide the smells and the colors into our natural food. Meal timing. Meal timing is another thing that is very keen in the management and prevention of non-communicable diseases. They are the food that we are supposed to eat in the morning. They are the food that we're supposed to eat at a certain particular period of time. But when you use a particular food in the time that is not supposed to be consumed, that food might not have an effect directly, but in the long term, it can affect people's life, most especially leading to the non-communicable diseases. So it is normally advisable to eat heavy meal. When we talk of heavy meal, there are this food that is very, when we talk of very heavy meal, this is the principal food that we have to consume. It is advised to take it, most especially in the before noon hours. When we talk of heavy meal, this is where we bring into a balanced diet. We bring into carbohydrates. The carbohydrates that are most especially tubes and tubes. When we talk of tubes, we are talking bananas, plantains, we are talking cassava, we are talking of potatoes, we are talking of yams, we are talking of these food that are normally grown into starchy food that are normally grown into underground. And when we talk of cereals, they are also supposed to be consumed, most especially before noon, because it needs extra hours to be digested. So when you consume them in the morning, in the before noon hours, the body will be having that particular capacity. When you are exercising, when you are doing such a kind of work, it gives enough time for the body to boost such a kind of digestion. So it is advisable to take these starchy food, as I mentioned, tubes and cereals, they are rice, maize, they are cassava, this type of cereals, the food that contains starchy food products, they are supposed to be consumed in the before noon. And when we are talking meal timing, it is very, very advisable not to consume heavy meal in the night. And when you look into most of our population, they used to consume the heavy meal during when they are about to go to bed, when it is about bedtime. So meal timing is very keen. It is very important when we are preventing and managing non-communicable diseases. There is an intake of good fats. So intake of good fats, when we talk of good fats, they are basically the fats that are normally originated from plants. They can be sunflower oil, they can be the oils from soya, the oils from maize, the oils from olive oil. So if we are to manage and prevent non-communicable diseases, so good fats, good oils are very advisable for the prevention and management of non-communicable diseases. So we are talking of fibers. When you talk of fibers, these are things, the fibers, these are starchy, complex substances that are normally found in food, and they are supposed to be, they are normally found in vegetables and fruits and whole grains and cereals. So it is very advisable to include the food that are very rich in fibers while we are preparing our meal. Antioxidants. Antioxidants, they are very keen. Antioxidants, we have very many antioxidants. We have vitamin C, we have vitamin A, we have vitamin E, we have mineral salts that plays a very big role in avoiding toxins from oxidizing our body cells. So these antioxidants, consuming food that are very rich in oxidants, they are very keen in the prevention and management of non-communicable diseases. So let's first talk about cardiovascular diseases. This is stroke, heart attack, and hypertension. Cardiovascular diseases is a class of diseases that involve the heart and the blood vessels. This affects the saturation system of the blood, and it is composed of heart, arteries, and veins and capillaries. So this is basically the disease that affect this system. They are normally called cardiovascular diseases. And these diseases are very categorical. We have coronary heart diseases. These are diseases of blood vessels supplying the heart muscles. They are stroke caused by disruption of the blood supply in the brain. They are rheumatic Heart diseases, this is the damage to the heart muscle and heart valves from rheumatic fever caused by Staphylococcus bacteria. We also have hypertension. Hypertension, it occurs when the blood pressure goes above 140, and when the systolic pressure goes above 90 milliliter per mercury. We have other more cardiovascular diseases like cardiac arrhythmias, atherosclerosis. We have cardiovascular diseases like peripheral arterial diseases. We have congenital heart diseases. There are very many, and they are all non-communicable diseases. When categorically talk about hypertension, as I mentioned, hypertension, this is where the blood pressure goes, systolic blood pressure goes above 140, and the systolic pressure goes above 85 millimeter per mercury. Researchers has shown that 1/3 of people worldwide are unaware that they don't have hypertension, yet they are hypertensive. So this is a silent killer. People may have high blood pressure and they don't know that they have the high blood pressure. This is the reason why we normally advise health professionals to conduct awareness, educate the population, so that they can search for high blood pressure tests. So this is the condition that people might be having and not knowing that they have that particular condition. So it is very keen to mobilize and advise people to go at least every 6 months to go for checkup for high blood pressure. Not only even high blood pressure, but also diabetes and other non-communicable diseases. It is advised to go for regular checkups because people might be having these diseases and they are not aware that they have. So this research documented that 1/3 of people, they are unaware that they have high blood pressure, yet they are affected. In both developed and developing countries, at least 1/3 of cardiovascular diseases is attributed to modifiable and non-modifiable factors. But our modern diet and the way of life are at the root cause of most cardiovascular diseases. So into this presentation, we will explain what do we mean when we say modern diet. When we talk of our way of life, this is lifestyle basically. So we will also explain different lifestyle strategies that would contribute to the prevention and management of non-communicable disease. But modern diets, poor and healthy, the diet without nutrients, the diet with high sugars, the diet with high fats and salts, with no nutrients, with no fibers, with no proteins, with no mineral salts and vitamins. They are everywhere, and these are the root causes of non-communicable diseases. And remember, these are modifiable factors. People can have the control over these factors. People can determine. It is in someone's capacity to determine what to eat or not what to eat. So that's why we normally categorize the diet as one of modifiable factors that contributes to the incidence of non-communicable diseases. So remember, it is people's capacity to choose to eat this particular food, but also not to eat this particular food. So into this presentation, I will take you through what are the do's and don'ts people should be implementing to make sure that they are unhealthy, they are prevented and managed for non-communicable diseases. Prevention and managing cardiovascular diseases involve eating well. So how do we determine eating well? Into this presentation, we will come to know what do we mean by eating well. Doing exercise is also one of life strategies that contribute to the prevention and management of non-communicable diseases. There is stress management. When we talk of stress management, stress is associated to the cardiovascular diseases basically, and it is also a cause for non-communicable diseases. So we need to implement the stress management strategies for us, for the population, for the clients, for the people to be free from non-communicable diseases. And we need to identify and treat the genetic vulnerabilities that are known to bring on cardiovascular diseases. Let's talk about health diet. This is what I have been talking was just an introduction, was just to pave the way for us to tackle into this presentation, this slide. The slide of health diet, it is the cornerstone. It is the pillar for this presentation. Remember, we are talking about the nutritional techniques that are really needed to be implemented so that we can prevent and manage diabetes, manage cardiovascular diseases, manage diabetes, manage preventable cancers. So nutrition, diet, health diet plays a greater role in the prevention, in the management of these non-communicable diseases. Remember, as we said, 80% of premature deaths in low and middle income countries are caused by non-communicable diseases. Remember, 71% deaths globally are caused by non-communicable diseases. So, and remember, one of the modifiable factors that we have in our minds, that we have in our capacities, we have the capacity, we have the power, we have the control over what we eat. So remember, we are what we eat. And as I mentioned, the way we prepare, the time we eat, what type of food that we normally eat contributes a lot how we are exposed or not exposed to non-communicable diseases. So health diet, one of the health diet advice that is supposed to be given to the patient, to the client, is that a client should be emphasized to consume a whole foods. When we talk of whole foods, they are those foods that are not processed, that are not industrially made. They are those foods that nothing that has been added to those foods. Most especially, they are plant-based diets with the addition of fish. These are whole food. Has been shown to sweep away arterioplaques. So arterioplaques, this is they are the accumulation of cholesterol that are in the veins. Whole foods, because whole foods have got the fibers, whole foods do not have got high density proteins. They play a role of sweeping away the arterioplaques. So we are also emphasizing the vegetables. Less people consume vegetables. We are having a variety of vegetables. We're having green vegetables, dodos, we're having spinach, we are having carrots, we are having broccoli, we are having cauliflower, we are having pumpkins, we are having French beans, butternut squash, cucumber, and etc. These are all the varieties of vegetables, and people, they normally have them in their backyards. They normally have them in their kitchen gardens, and they can even have the power to purchase this particular food. Remember, these are the food that are very rich in vitamins. These are the food that are very rich in mineral salts. These are the foods that are very rich in fibers that can contribute to the sweeping away of arterial arteries. Remember, when there is a plaque that is in the artery, it affects the blood circulation. When the blood circulation, when there is an affected blood circulation, it will end up causing cardiovascular diseases and hypertension diseases. So people, our fellow community, it is very, very, very important when we are choosing what to eat to also include plenty of vegetables. Remember, there are some of the vegetables that do not need to be eaten when they are cooked. They are the vegetables that people can even eat when they are raw. And remember, when you eat the vegetable that is very raw, it is one of the way to maximize the nutrients in the food. I have commented on food preparation. Please, When we are preparing the vegetables, don't boil the vegetables, because vegetables, they have got water-soluble vitamins that can be denatured, that can be roasted when you boil them. When we're preparing vegetables, most especially green vegetables, most especially these vegetables with orange color. Take an example of carrots. It is very advisable to steam the vegetables, not to cook the vegetables into or boiling vegetables or frying the vegetables on high temperatures. So, and some of the vegetables, as I mentioned, they can be eaten when they are raw. Take an example, you can make the salad for carrots, the salads for onions, the salad for tomatoes, the salads for cucumber. You can eat them when they are raw. So this is one of the food preparation techniques that maximizes the nutrients in the food. When we talk of healthy diet, this is where we also emphasize the people to eat fruits. We are having a variety of fruits. There are oranges, there are apples, pineapples, guava, berries, passion, tamarindo, mangoes. There are different types of fruits that are around. So for the health benefits, it is very advisable, encouraged for the population to consume the fruits, because fruits, they can contribute to the prevention and management of cardiovascular diseases. We are also emphasized to consume whole cereals. When we are talking of whole cereals, we can talk of whole maize. Whole maize, they have got the fibers, they have got the vitamins and the mineral salts that contribute to the prevention and management of cardiovascular diseases. We are advising people, also encouraging people to eat whole wheat, brown rice, wherever it is applicable, wherever it is possible. So let's avoid the processed. This food that has been undergone into industries, because when the food is being put into the industry, they are some of the parts that are being roasted, and most of the parts are these outer layers that the body needs, that where the nutrients are concentrated. There are also highly reactive molecules known as toxins, especially toxins are especially found in industrial-made food. When people are exposed or have the custom of consuming industrial-made food, they end up having a very big number of toxins in the body. And remember, the toxins, they cause a lot of problems in the body. Toxins, they can react with body cells and change the mechanism of the body cells. So into this process, the body can develop non-communicable diseases like cancers, like diabetes, like non-communicable diseases like cardiovascular disease also. So it is highly discouraged for the people to depend mostly on industrial-made food. Take an example of trans fats. They are trans fats from mayonnaise. They are trans fats from margarine. So when you regularly eat these trans fats, you will end up having these toxins that eventually affect the body mechanism. There are also soft drinks like sweetened juices, sodas. They also have the higher concentration of toxins that also affects body's system. And deep fried food like chips. People, they are very interested in chips. People are very interested in soft drinks. People are much interested in ice creams, mayonnaise, these industrial-made food products. These industrial-made food products, they do not have the nutrients, they do not have vitamins, they do not have proteins, they do not have mineral salts that are very essential for the body mechanism or for the body functioning. Basically protective and bodybuilding food. So they only have, they are salted, they only have the higher content of salts, they only have the higher content of simple sugars, they only have these trans fats that eventually cause that eventually lead to the huge concentration of toxin in the body that will long term affect the body mechanism that will lead to different non-communicable diseases, including cancers, diabetes. Food that contains antioxidants. I have mentioned antioxidants. Antioxidants, these are the nutrients that are majorly found in food, natural food, that avoids the toxins from reacting in the body cells. So we are having a variety of, we are having a very big number of antioxidants. We are having a lot of nutrients that are majorly found in food, most especially natural food, that prevents the toxins from reacting in the body cells. So when you are talking antioxidants can only be found in fruits and vegetables and whole grains. So much more concentration of vegetables and the fruits will prevent the body from suffering from non-communicable diseases, and it will also energize and capacitate the body to manage the non-communicable diseases. So there is a take note. There are essential fatty acids, most especially omega-3 and omega-6, that are majorly found in soya, sunflower, and olive oil, and even from fish oil. These fatty acids, they are very good for the body, for the health, and it helps the body to prevent and manage non-communicable diseases, especially majorly cardiovascular diseases. People eat lots of fibers that are majorly found in whole grains, whole cereals, vegetables, and fruits. Garlic and onions reduce bad cholesterol and lower the blood pressure. Garlic and onions reduces cholesterol, and remember, cholesterol is the major leading cause of cardiovascular diseases, because when there is accumulation of cholesterol, they end up making those arterial plaques that accumulates in the arteries and affects the circulation of blood. So the person end up developing cardiovascular diseases. So garlic and onions contributes a lot in the management and the prevention of cardiovascular diseases. The skins of red and purple grapes helps to clear the arteries of plaques. Have a glass of purple red grape daily. For the people who can have this particular capacity to and access to grapes, it is advisable, if you have the capacity to access or to purchase the grapes, at least to take 1 glass of red grapes or purple grapes every day. Potassium and magnesium are heart protective minerals. Good sources are green vegetables, whole grains, wheat germs, soya beans, garlic, legumes, potatoes. All these are a good source of potassium and magnesium. Remember, potassium and magnesium, they are they play a very big role in strengthening the arterial walls, and strengthening the cardiac walls, so that the body and the heart, the arteries and the veins can be able to allow the circulation of blood in a healthy way. There are the things that we have to avoid if we are to be healthy, if we are to prevent non-communicable diseases, if we are to manage non-communicable diseases. You can eliminate, but if elimination is not applied to your health, maybe you might be addicted, you might be that person who loves the harmful fats. So you can gradually reduce or eliminate the consumption of harmful fats. As I mentioned, harmful fats, they are saturated fats. They are fats from animal origin. They are the fats from mayonnaise. They are the fats from margarine. So these fats are not healthy. They cause non-communicable diseases. Among the non-communicable diseases, they are cardiovascular diseases and hypertension. Avoid trans fats. Trans fats, they are, as I mentioned earlier, trans fats are normally originated from industrial made food. So when you avoid industrial made food, you are eventually avoiding trans fats. Hydrogenated fats, these are fats that has been industrially prepared on higher temperatures. They are having a lot of trans fats, they are having a lot of toxins that cause non-communicable diseases. Avoid the trap of packaged cookies and other sweets. These sweets and packaged cookies, they do not have the nutritional, they don't have the nutritional content. They do not have they do not have the vitamins. They do not have proteins. They do not have the minerals. Remember, proteins, they are body building. Remember, mineral source, remember, vitamins, they are body protecting food. So make sure that, remember, when you consume this particular, when you consume cookies, when you consume food that are industrially made, without this body building and body protecting food, you are putting your life into danger. So excess sugars is tied to a number of health problems, and when used as starch replacement, it reduces the level of good heart protection and cholesterol. So avoid the starch, avoid the sugars. So if you were to manage, if you were to prevent non-communicable diseases, if you were to prevent cardiovascular diseases, if you were to prevent diabetes, if you were to prevent cancers, avoid or eliminate the consumption of trans fats, the consumption of sugars, the consumption of basically industrial made food. Radically reduce the consumption of sodium. Sodium is also another leading cause of hypertension and cardiovascular diseases generally. So when you talk of the sugar, when you talk of salts, there is table salts that we normally put into food. There are those people who have the habit, who usually add or put extra salt into their food. So this habit, it can put, when you have that custom, when you have that habit, it can, and you practice it for a long period of time, you can end up having cardiovascular diseases, you can end up having non-communicable diseases basically. Remember, packaged food, for the food, sodium, they are normally used as a preservative. So packaged food are having that huge amount of sodium for them to last longer. So when you avoid industrially made food, you are eventually avoiding the overconsumption of sodium. It is better that when you go to the supermarket, when you are going to buy food, just read on the food labeling, understand the food facts, look at the sodium. What is the content of sodium in that food? What is the content of calories in that food? What is the content of fats, saturated and trans fats in that food? So it is better. What is the content of dietary fibers? So what are the content of sugars? It is very keen and very advisable for the people before they go to shop food, to buy food in a certain market, to read food labeling and concentrate on food nutritional facts. So we have been discussing about the cardiovascular diseases and hypertension basically, and you have looked into the healthy diet and unhealthy diet for these specific diseases. We have mentioned of fats, we have mentioned of sugars, we have digged deeply into food preparation. We have explained why do we need to eat raw vegetables, why do we need to eat fruits, why do we need this food, how toxins can be reduced, how toxins can be avoided into our food, so as we can prevent ourselves from our lives, our health from being affected by non-communicable disease. So we are now tapping into diabetes. Diabetes it is also an interesting topic when we are talking of nutrition and diabetes. Diabetes, we are having diabetes mellitus. Is a group of diseases characterized by high levels of blood glucose resulting from defects in insulin production, insulin action, or both. So this is called diabetes mellitus. We are having two types of diabetes mellitus. We are having type 1 diabetes mellitus. This type 1 diabetes mellitus develops when the body's immune system destroys pancreatic beta cells, the only cells in the body that makes hormone insulin that regulates blood sugar. We are having also type 2 diabetes mellitus. It usually begins as an insulin resistance. It is a disorder also in which the cell do not use insulin properly. As the need for insulin rises, the pancreas gradually loses its ability to produce insulin. Another diabetes called the gestational diabetes. It is a form of glucose intolerance that is diagnosed in some women during pregnancy. So what do we need to do? What diet, what nutrition, what lifestyle modification strategies do we need to implement so that we can be free from diabetes, so that we can manage, so that we can prevent diabetes? There is a lifestyle intervention that incorporates energy restriction. When you talk of energy restriction, it is minimizing or being away from higher energy density food. These are food that are basically industrial processed. When food is being industrial processed, as I mentioned, there are some of the nutrients that are lost, and there are some of the nutrients that develops their effects in the body. So take an example. When we concentrate on eating like breads, these white breads that are normally made, these are highly density food products that can cause diabetes. We are talking of raw fats diets. Raw fats diets, it is also a very good strategy to avoid diabetes, and it is associated with lifestyle modification. Raw fat diets are very highly advised. There is also increased physical activity that can effectively reduce the risks of type 2 diabetes in high risk groups. So exercising is very key. Doing exercise. When we are advising people to start to improve their physical exercise, so you can just start with moderate physical exercise. You can jog, you can run, you can walk, you can swim. So these are the moderate physical exercise that benefits the body to prevent and manage diabetes. Follow a diet that is high in fibers like vegetables. As I mentioned, vegetables are very high in fibers. Remember, the fibers play a greater role in delaying the absorption of sugars into bloodstream. So when you eat the vegetables that are having higher concentration of fibers, it will have a direct effect on the rate, on the time, the absorption of simple sugars, the absorption of sugars that would be taken into bloodstream. Remember, diabetes comes when there is a huge amount of bloodstream, when there is a huge amount of simple sugars in the bloodstream, when there is glucose in the bloodstream. So fibers acts as a acts to reduce the rate, the time that is spent. It is to increase the time the absorption of simple sugars takes into bloodstream. So they also nuts. Nuts, they are a good source of proteins. They are groundnuts, they are macadamia, cashew nuts, and etc. We're having seeds like pumpkin seeds. It is a habit in our community that whenever they have the pumpkin, they throw away the seeds. Yet the seeds from the pumpkin, they are very nutritious, they are very healthy, they have the huge amount of proteins, they have the huge amount of vitamins, they have a huge amount of mineral salts. So nuts are very advisable, pumpkin seeds are very advisable for those ones who can afford sesame, who can afford chia seeds, who can afford flax seeds, and whole grains also. This is very keen in the prevention and management of non-communicable diseases, most especially diabetes. There is water-soluble fibers found in beans, seeds, nuts, and the apple, helps to balance the blood sugar. Make sure you drink plenty of water. People do not have the custom of drinking water. They don't have the discipline of drinking water, but water plays a very good role, a very huge role in preventing people from suffering from diabetes. It is advisable to drink at least 1 liter per 30 kilograms. When you talk of 1 liter per 30 kilograms per day, take an example. It is a very simple mathematics. When you are having 60 kilograms, you are advised to take 2 liters. It is 1 liter per 30 kilogram. If you have 30 kilogram, you take 1 liter. If you have 45 kilograms, you take 1.5. If you have 60 kilograms, you take 2 liters. If you have 90 kilograms, you take 3. It is a matter of getting those kilograms you have, then you divide by 30. The number you get, it is the amount of liter you need to take per day. So I'm also encouraging health professionals, when we are educating the patients, when we are counseling the patients, to have encouragement to stick on water, because the research has shown that the population, most especially the population of Rwanda, they don't consider water as major important thing that people should practice. So consume vegetable proteins like legumes, nuts, seeds, peas, lean meats like turkey, chicken, and fish. Brown rice are complex carbohydrates, are good choices. So brown rice, whenever it is possible, whenever you can afford, whenever there is availability of brown sugar, try to exercise, try to put into your custom that you take the brown sugar. That's a brown rice. It is very advisable because it is complex. Because it is complex, it has the fibers, it has the mineral salt, and even it has the proteins that will contribute to the delay of the absorption of sugars into the bloodstream. So we also advise people to drink milk and raw sugar. Proteins from milk and raw sugar can be consumed. Proteins help smooth out blood sugar levels. I repeat this. Proteins help smooth out. It helps the body to reduce the blood sugar. Many people with diabetes benefit from increasing the relative amount of protein in their diet. Remember, it is very common for the people suffering from diabetes. They are very prone to have diminished immune system. Their immune system are likely to be suppressed. So having proteins on your meal will help your body to boost the immune system. This is very key. Chromium deficiency has been associated to diabetes. So eat lots of wheat germs, whole grain, soya products, onions, and garlic will also lower the blood sugar levels and protect heart diseases. Focus on glycemic index. So they are the food that have higher glycemic index. So it is very advisable to consume low glycemic index food. These are vegetables most especially, and whole grains and cereals. Focus on quality fats. Focus on fish, as nuts and seeds as your source of fatty oils. Use olive oil with your salads. When you're preparing salads, it is advisable to at least to use olive oil. As I mentioned, olive oil is a very good source of omega-3 that is needed by our body to boost the immune system, to boost the circulation of blood, to cleanse the plaques of cholesterol in the arteries. So we cannot talk of diabetes. How do we deal with diabetes nutrition-wise when we're not talking of detoxification? Detoxification is very key. It is very important when you want to prevent and manage diabetes, because toxins, they are, as I said, toxins, they are reactive agencies. They are free radicals that can eventually react with body cells and can damage the pancreas, can damage other organs and cells of the body. So detoxifying is very, very, very key. And when we talk of diabetic patients, they normally take drugs, they normally take medicines. So medicines, when you take the medicines, because they are pharmaceutical agents, they are industry made, they have got some toxins and they can increase the level of toxin in the body. So if you diabetes, it is advisable to detoxify the body. How do we detoxify? We do detoxification by using super green foods such as chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass, and a mixture of these super green foods can help you to detoxify. skin is also the large organ. It is a very huge organ of the body and can detoxify the body. Do exercise regularly. When you do exercise, you sweat. As you are sweating, some of the toxins goes out. So it is really a lifestyle modification strategy that will help the person to manage and prevent diabetes. Drink a glass of water. Yes, every 2 working hours. This will help you. Will help a person to detoxify, because when you drink water, water plays a very greater role in eliminating toxins from the body. And when you spend, the reason why we do 2 working hours, it has been researched and documented that when a person is sleeping, the body is in a luxury condition. When the body is in a luxury condition, this is where the most of physically, it has that physical leisure. So when it is physically leisure, the body metabolism, they are very, very at high level. So into this process, when the body is relaxing and internal operations are being conducted, the body makes a lot of toxins. So when you wake up and you drink 1 glass of water, of clean water, it will help you, the body, to eliminate and remove the other toxins that the body has created while it has been conducting their internal mechanisms. So phytonutrients, as I said, they are very key. They are also phytochemicals. These are naturally occurring substances. Gives plant their characteristic flavor. You can feel that food have got the flavors. Food have got the colors. Food have got the aroma. And these characteristic conditions of flavor, aroma, and color, they are normally given by food through their catalyst. When the food is its color, its smell and flavor, and is most especially based on its phytonutrients. So, for the food to be, take an example, for the carrot to be orange, it has got there is a reason why it is orange. That color of orange, it is being given, this color of orange has been given to the carrots by phytochemical called carotenoids. Carotenoids, they are phytonutrients that are normally found in carrots. This orange food like carrots, like pumpkins, these colors contributes a lot in prevention and management of diseases. So, for the food to be green, there is a reason why it is green. For the food to have that particular odor, that particular smell, that particular flavor, there is a nutrient behind that flavor. There is a nutrient behind that smell. There is a nutrient behind that color. So these are called phytonutrients. So thousands of phytochemicals have been identified in fruits, vegetables, grains, seeds, algae, and nuts. So when I was presenting the nutrition for diabetes, the nutritional management and prevention of cardiovascular disease, I mentioned about the food. I mentioned about the colors in food. So when you lose a color in food, you are losing the vitamins. When you lose the taste, when you lose the smell, you are eventually losing the mineral salts. So these are phytochemicals that gives the food a property of treating and managing non-communicable diseases. Phytonutrients have tremendous benefits for people by helping to prevent illnesses like cancer, like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. For example, 2 phytonutrients found in cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower known as endorosely, carbinol, and sulforaphane helps the body to metabolize toxins and associated with preventing certain types of cancers. Flavonoids found in citrus fruits protects against heart diseases, stroke, and cancers. So many phytonutrients are powerful antioxidants that protects against cell damage and environmental pollutants. Remember, when we are talking about non-modifiable factors, we have mentioned about air pollution and antioxidants that are normally found in food, most especially vegetables, fruits that act as phytonutrients, prevents the body because they prevent the body from reacting with pollutants, with toxins. So phytonutrients, phytochemicals play a greater role in preventing and managing non-communicable diseases, most especially cancers. Other phytonutrients helps the cell to detoxify more efficiently. I have mentioned that detoxification is very key. So they are the food, most especially these foods with green color, like spirulina, like green vegetables. Green color is chlorophyll. Green color is a phytonutrient called chlorophyll that prevents the body from reacting with pollutants, from reacting with radicals, free radicals. So, for example, green vegetables are highly in chlorophyll potent detoxifying chemical agents. So, coming to the end, we are having references. These are the references. Whoever wants to update, to upgrade for user skills, whoever wants to search for other books to consult, the websites to consult, where we can get extra information about nutritional management techniques for non-communicable diseases, you can consult this website, these links will give you more information. Thank you for following, thank you for being with us. See you again.